Hi everybody, hair review here. Welcome back to Lots of Construction Outside, where there's a bee in my apartment, and in killing it with air freshener, I might have also killed two of my plants. I'm Del Salvador, and this is Dream Theater's Octavarium. Let me tell you why this is a really good thing. So, this is the 8th album in progressive metal band Dream Theater's discography, which is important, strangely enough. So, I forget if the first one did it, like their debut, but every single album that they had up to this one led to the next one. So let's say one album, what is it, Scenes from Memory, Metropolis Part 2, would end in Static, and the next album, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, would begin with the same Static. The last album before this one, Train of Thought, ended with a piano arpeggio going up, and not the last note. And that last note is the note that starts off the first track on this album. And this album kind of is like King Gizzard's and the Lizard Wizard's Non-God Infinity album, where it loops back in and of itself. This album does that exact thing, where the first song starts off on a one note, and it's just a low wah, not any actual melody, just a one single note. Very great way to start the album, by the way. And the last track ends on the same note, but an octave higher. And then it just rings out and it just loops back in, and this album loops and caps off that 8 album cycle, which is really cool. And speaking of 8, there's a lot of references to 8 and 5 on this album, quite a lot. But to not get too wrapped up in the context and the concept, the actual songs themselves are really good. Now, Dream Theater are very well known for being some of the best musicians in metal and rock too, to be in one band. Like, you got one of the world's best drummers, world's best guitarists, bassists, keyboardists, vocalists is also pretty good, etc. The whole band is really, really, really talented, and on another scale. And basically, this album is up there in terms of best Dream Theater albums, and simply because they know when to dial it back. Like, don't get me wrong, they can play really fast and really technical if they want, and they do a lot. But a lot of times they get lost in that. It becomes a little self-indulgent, a little bit, certain time, especially more recent albums. And when you have a musician who can play an instrument that good, or even anywhere near that, what usually makes them a lot better, kind of sets them apart, is if they can learn when to dial it back and then when to let loose at very specific times, and use it as almost like a writing tool for in terms of writing your song, like at least your instrumental part of it and your music part of it. And this album does that a lot. Dream Theater are a metal band, for sure, but there's some nice ballads on here, some almost poppy songs on here, some really menacing heavy songs, some really fast songs, some slow songs, some more technical songs, some more basic songs. Like, it's all over the place, but not in a way where it feels all over. It's more so that it feels more thought out. Like, first track, The Root of All Evil, opens up with a very low wah, and is very, very, almost not menacing, but very, grand, very ominous. There's some very, very, very nice soundscapes and sound play. If you listen to some headphones, the opening riff kind of pans back and forth, which is really, really cool. And that's one thing also. This album for 2006 or 8 or somewhere around there, it was mid-2000s. For that time, this album, even today, this album sounds really well in headphones. And it's produced really well and sounds crisp and really good. And so, first track starts out a lot more rocky. This is a good example of their slower metal. So something like maybe certain Metallica, like the slower Metallica songs, like Seek and Destroy would be kind of like this, or maybe just other metal songs that are heavy but kind of mid-paced. They're not barreling fast, but they're not like really slow and doomy. They're in the middle, and that's what this first song is, and it's a really good one at that. And this song talks about a lot of the seven deadly sins and other things very similar, and being just controlled by them and just letting go. And actually, this song is part of the 12-step suite that Dream Theater is also have done, where it is for 5 albums. There is one song on each of those 5 albums in a row that is part of a bigger story. And all of those songs also melodically call back to each other and all that kind of stuff. And it's about the drummers, journey through alcoholism and trying to get rid of that and trying to get over that. And this song is in the middle of that journey, him trying to let go of these things that control his life. Really, really nice keyboard solo near the end. Good guitar solos, 2 good riffs, very good riffs, very mean riffs, awesome riffs. And it ends in a piano part, which will slow down to nature sounds and sounds of birds and stuff, and then it will switch into the next track, which is, I forget, I should really start planning these a lot better. It is, it's on the tip of my tongue, I feel so stupid. Why do I do this to myself? Why is YouTube awful? The Answer Lies Within, that one. I'm going to keep this up, so I'm not going to be dumb anymore. But, this is actually new for Dream Theater because it's, at least to this point, it's very out of character. It's a ballad, and a very simple ballad. There's nothing really complex going on, not as much as usual anyways, and it's very calming, and it's just a ballad, just piano, some strings. The whole album actually has bits of orchestration in the back, but really shines on this album. And the strings do a specific melody in the part going into the bridge. It's a little 4-note melody that descends, and that pattern, it's kind of the Octavarium melody, if you were to say, repeats and kind of is used throughout the entire album. And it's here and there, it kind of links, again, it has a sense of unity. A lot of the songs use it, and again, it gives the whole album like a unity and a wholeness. Everything connects. It's really, really nice. And the next song, These Walls, is a nice pickup from Answet Within, and has some really cool, again, headphone stuff at the start, and real killer. I think it's a bit of an underrated song of theirs. That song ends, and then you get a pretty radio-friendly song called I Walk Beside You, which is really, like, it's radio-friendly. I don't know, it's very poppy. It's not as poppy as Answer Lies Within. There's some, well, not poppy, it's not as slow as that one. This one has more guitars, but more upbeat, a lot less slow, nice vocals in the chorus, especially near the end. Panic Attack, next song, one of their better songs for sure. And this is when they know when to kick in the high gear. And this song basically is sonically an example of what it feels like to go through a panic attack. And that's not anything scary. Like, if you're not used to metal or so, I wouldn't say to like be fearful of this track or anything like that. It's a really good song, and it's more so, it's not that it simulates it or give you one, it's more so that it is really, really, really fast, and it never ever lets up. And it is insanely fast, actually. It's really, really fast, and there are some killer keyboard solos, killer guitar solos, and Dream Theater does what Dream Theater does best, where sometimes the keyboardists and guitarists will do the same thing on top of each other, and at some points kind of gets hard to tell like which one is which unless you kind of have a musical ear for what a synth sounds like and what a guitar sounds like. But this song, really, really, really good. Song ends, more nice panning, kind of similar rhythm to how the Root of All Evil started, and more soundscape stuff to transition to the next track, Never Enough. And that's another thing this album does with the concept very well, is that, again, if you look at a piano, every single song is in a very specific key. And if you look at a piano, and the first track is in the key of that first note, and then you can go up a note, and then the next song is in the key of that note, so on and so forth. And where the black notes would be, or where they have these interludes, like the soundscapes, like the birds and nature sounds from Root of All Evil to Answer Lies Within, etc., etc., etc. I'm pretty sure that these walls and our walk beside you have a ticking clock between those two. And some of the tracks obviously don't have interludes, and that's because there's no black note between those notes. And not in that order. Never Enough is basically no, I'm right. Sacrifice Sons has a good interlude at the start. We'll get to that later. ADD brain. Never Enough. So if I have the right context to this, apparently this song is about years and years ago, before this album was even out. People, as fans do, were getting, very possessive, and like, hey, we want more from you. You know all this cool stuff. Sure, we want more. You have to give us more and all that kind of stuff. And this song is the singer, James, addressing that. And like, hey, I'm sacrificing a lot here. I'm not sleeping. My family is getting concerned. And you're still asking for more. So what would you do if I walked away? Because it'd be too late at that point, kind of thing. Really cool song. Again, really nice vocals, really nice soaring vocals. The next track, Sacrifice Sons, it has some really, really good musicianship. Especially there is a live performance of this on YouTube where instead of the guitar solo, John does some really cool stuff, and it sounds so alien, so angsty. Really, really good stuff. And this song starts with news reports of some 9/11 news stories, which is what this song is about. Considering I'm pretty sure this was an album that happened either right after that incident, or it was the incident this was like the second or third album after that. But either way, this song is about that. As a lot of songs are written about that right after it happened because it was a big thing. And lots of really cool musical stuff. Of course, we got the danger motif of, the tritone and all that kind of stuff. Lots of orchestration in there near the end. Real cool stuff. And usually when bands do have an orchestra with them, it's very hard to balance it and basically not have it sound like a metal band with an orchestra tacked on, or an orchestra with a metal band tacked on. It's very hard to blend it so it sounds like one thing. And this album does that really good, especially the last track, Octavarium, which is basically about, at least the first part, is about, living your life and just wasting it and realizing too late, so to speak. The lyrics are a little bit vague, but this song is actually 24 minutes, which is actually really good. It does not feel the 24 minutes because the song is so multi-dimensional, and not in the sense they're doing a lot of things really wacky because they can do it. Again, it's planned, and they're not just going crazy, going hard, really calm, then weird other sounds. It's all planned. It's all done really nicely. Where it starts off with some soundscapes from Jordan, the keyboardist, and he's two-handed in it, and you'll see it when he does it live, where he's holding chords on one keyboard, and then he's playing the melody on another keyboard, and it's really cool stuff. I'd recommend looking at the video where they did it live in Chile. Really amazing stuff. And then the song bursts out, then it calms right back down. It almost sounds like an overture, at least the sound. I know an overture is written a very specific way, but it sounds very grandiose, and it calms down. And there's an acoustic guitar and a nice flute solo which is really unexpected because orchestra is there, so they're adding some stuff in, and it's really cool. And it almost sounds, I want to say folky, but it sounds almost like you're the start of a movie. And then the song starts, and you have these the topics about living your life, all that kind of stuff, and then it takes off, and it's in a very happy tone. They're playing really fast and doing all this stuff. Then it kind of switches to like a darker tone, a lot more minor key, and they do this really cool thing with the lyrics where again they loop into each other, where they have a phrase or like a saying or a title or a song name, like a thing that's established, not just any words, but like loose in the sky with diamonds. They will loop into Diamond Dave, and what they'll do is they'll take like the last part of the first phrase and the first part of the next phrase and loop them in. So you got like loose in the sky with Diamond Dave's not here right now, stuff like that. And it's really, really cool. And they have the next section like falling forward, falling back, or running forward, falling back, looking out, reaching in. A lot of weird, double negative stuff. Find out that I've come full circle. More full circle vocals, really cool stuff. Handle with careful with that axe, Eugene, all that kind of stuff. Very nice references to a lot of older songs. And then the next portion, they're getting even faster, a lot more crazier, a lot more stuff in there. But it sounds chaotic for a good reason. Everything's kind of, crumbling. And they, at least in the story of the track, it sounds like, everything's collapsing on itself. It's all, it's intense. And they use this opportunity to get into nicely time with the concept, is they reference a lot of other past artist songs that have inspired them, from what I understand. And there's a lot of riffs and things that are just kind of thrown in there, even Jingle Bells for a second. And they also, what was that? Pink Floyd. They take a sample of a Pink Floyd song from I think the Wall album, and there's a part where they say, "Is this where we came in?" And they reference that in the back for a second before they go into the section, and then all calms down. And then what they do is they have the stanza build, which references every single track on this album, kind of in a pessimistic way, like in opposites stuff. And in that stanza, like they're kind of going through the songs and kind of generally what they mean, but in a pessimistic way. And when they reference the song, they play a little bit in the background, which is also very cool. And then we get a rare scream from James, really cool stuff. And the track just breaks down, opens up again, real nice orchestration, nice big finish. And they do a lot of lyrical references to just, going for a circle, ends where it began. And it goes back into, like the story at the start, even like the music they were referencing, because in music, everything's based off of something. No art is purely original. It's always built on something else. So you get one band, they do a thing, another band takes it, adds bits of these other bands into that, and makes their own thing. One band will take that stuff, and, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. And then the album ends, and they have this big crescendo, and then the album loops back into itself. And depending on which version of the album you have, like digital, CD, whatever, in release, like Japanese release, US release, whatever, there might be a certain mix where it either ends with a flute solo, or it ends with the very start of the first song, as everything fades out with the soundscapes in the first song. And it's a really, really, really good album. Every song here is amazing. There's a lot of different flavors. There's ballads and more slower rock songs, faster paced metal songs, medicine songs, more happy songs, and they're all good songs. None of them feel like they drag you for a minute, and the playing is top notch. And the album cover art too. What I always like about Dream Theater, especially, is their album covers always look almost like art pieces. And this album cover, one of my favorites. Also, it ties into the concepts very well, because there's even some art you can find like official artwork from the band, where in all of the Newton Ball spears, they have their album covers kind of put in those things, with Octavarium being in the last one, and they all connect, they kind of loop through as where it began, all that kind of stuff, real cool stuff, and that's about it. Honestly, every song's good. I'd probably give this a 9 out of 10, to be honest. Probably even a 10 out of 10, maybe. I have to think about it over a lot, but probably a 10. And yeah, that's about it. So cool. See you in the next one.